dream I know, deep up my feelings for you. Watch.
Hello reality viewers, welcome back again to Reality Latest Gist, the home of news and politics. For this channel, we dey drop news every day and we dey react to every videos wey comes our way. And na reality news now we dey drop for this channel, and we dey also dey talk am as e be. If today na the first time we say you dey come across this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are returning subscribers, I appreciate all of una for una massive support to this channel. I say may God bless all of una in Jesus name. Amen. I get video where I want present to una this very moment, and I go to follow una, they watch the video. After we don't watch them together, make we drop our opinion constructively for the comment section. Like our videos and also share our videos if possible.
Politicians at the Lagos conference were very, very opposed to it. They said no, they don't want independence in 1956. The Saldana at that time, who was the leader of the Northern People's Congress, who was actually the leading politician in Northern Nigeria, amended the motion that it should be independence as soon as practicable because Northern Nigeria was not ready. That angered the southern politicians a lot, and there was a walkout by northern politicians from that conference. But as they were walking out, they were being insulted, they were being abused, that these guys don't want to
Okay, all right. So, I mean, I thought you wanted to land your point because that was quite great, and then I would proceed to
I'm very careful when when the anchor makes one sound, I will have to stop. But let me quickly land.
Please
the
land.
point is that you can see that there is a collaboration between northern politicians now and southern politicians, and this is coming from once disgruntled people. So the big problem, according to Steers Analytics, will be the unity of Nigeria after a Bola Ahmed Tinubu win. At the time, it was northern Nigerians who wanted to pull out from this country, given the Lagos conference. Now the northern Nigerian politicians considered to say they wanted a southern politician to be president. Now he has become president-elect. Given the fact that this is an election that is notoriously regarded as not having complied to the provisions of the Electoral Act, we are now headed for a problem as a country. So if you ask me in this first salvo that congratulations to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but the problems are beyond economy, they are beyond security, they are fundamental enough to tackling whether Nigerians want to stay in this way where elections don't really reflect their will. I land there.
All right, thank you for landing. Now, let me ask you a question to continue the journey from where you stopped. So you talked about the responsibility of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu once he's sworn in to promote the unity of Nigerians because it's quite fragmented at the moment based on the Steers report. And that's quite instructive because we just had a similar conversation before you came on with Mr. Funsho Doherty. And away from that, just to say that the president in his speech when we received Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Daura said that he was going to build on his administration's success. If we're to look at this call to building national unity, this administration has been criticized for being, for nepotism at different levels in the area of appointments, and we've seen a deepening in tensions, as it were, between ethnic groups. So how do you think the president-elect should begin to work as we begin to chart his, his journey to Aso Rock? What should be his priority? How would he begin to mend these fragmented relationships and build one Nigeria?
This election has come with a very big cost. Nigerians suffered a lot. There was a wide perception by Nigerians, and I emphasize perception, that there were certain policies of government preceding this election to ensure that a certain candidate was not favored and as against being punished. And that's informed the Naira policy. It didn't matter what the CBN said, that it was more of a demonetization policy that was meant to tackle inflation. Nigerians suffered in such horrendous, situations. You needed to see what Nigerians have been through and they're still going through because of the failed implementation of that policy. Nigerians have suffered a lot under President Muhammadu Buhari, not because he's a bad person, not because he intends to suffer Nigerians, but as a matter of fact. And I will talk about notorious fact. These are things we shouldn't keep saying so that it look as if one is driving an agenda. There is no agenda. The truth about it is that Nigerians suffered high state of insecurity. Nigerians suffered high level of low esteem and self-esteem. And the economy was bad enough. And then the bad thing about it was that Nigerians were losing hope. A reflection again of 1984 when Andrew was notable for checking out. And the NTA did everything he could do at that time to dissuade Nigerians from checking out. Checking out has been reinvented as Japa. The truth about it is that I don't want to overemphasize the fact that we experienced intractable problems facing the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration that he couldn't handle. Yes, so I don't want to repeat myself or sound like a broken record because of the things that have been said. Nevertheless, you talk about a president-elect that has a huge problem. He compares himself with the legendary Obafemi Awolowo or the cosmopolitan MKO Abiola. I think he doesn't match because right now he doesn't appeal to significant greater number of Nigerians at this moment. But we must respect the fact that he's president-elect. Therefore, he must begin to take responsibility. When President Obasanjo was president-elect in 1999, he took the presidential jet and started running around the whole world. He was junketing everywhere because at that time our problem was that General Sani Abacha had given us a very bad reputation for being a brutal military dictator, so he needed to repair foreign relations. Now, the president must realize that the current problem we are facing now in this country is that the average Nigerian is suffering. The economy is in dire straits. Beyond that, there is a lot of fallenness. People are having a sense of not only dissatisfaction, but being excluded at this moment. And I trust Bola Ahmed Tinubu to an extent. He has his records, no matter how much you can vilify him. He appears to be a man that is quite inclusive. I see what's going on in Lagos today. I am very proud when I see the list of commissioners there are in the times of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Babatunde Raji Fashola, and the current Sanwo-Olu. The infection that Lagos appears to be a place that really accommodates all shades of persons to the extent that they are entrusted with very serious responsibilities. Take a look at the fact that the current minister, the commissioner of finance in Lagos State is an Urobo man like me. How can the Urobo people in Delta State believe that? How possible? An Urobo man is commissioner of finance in Lagos. That is how cosmopolitan the Lagos mindset is. That he must build seriously upon as he sets up a cabinet at the federal level, giving a sense of belonging to every Nigerian. Whether we like it or not, security is important, but right now, Nigeria must survive. If we don't have to have those kind of feelings that led to the civil war, that is, people feeling that they were cheated, feeling that they have to succeed, don't let it be on record. It is not a Nigeria that had first wanted to succeed out of this country. Now, the reason is anytime any group feels cheated, feels excluded, the next thing they think is to go and to secede, forgetting that when there is a secession and a new country, you have a new set of oppressors and a new set of oppressed, and then you get other group of persons that are disgruntled who want to form their own country. We don't want that cycle. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu must realize that the unity of this country is the most important thing to do, and he shouldn't wait until May 29 when he's sworn in before he starts acting. He should take a cue from former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and he should start visiting the people he needs to visit now to mend fences and give assurances that Nigeria does have a future beyond whatever the Supreme Court will decide with regards to the many legal conundrums that have been raised as a result of the election.
Well, I get your point about your expectations. Unity of Nigeria, very important. Some other people will say prosperity, peace, progress. And the candidate of the APC, now president-elect, in the speeches that he has made, he has talked about unifying the country. He has talked about carrying everybody along. He has talked about prosperity and trying to make sure that, Nigeria moves forward. However, if you look at the other political parties, PDP says it will retrieve its stolen mandate. I put that in quotes. NNPP says it has 7 major complaints on the basis of which it's going to go to court. The first complaint by the NNPP is what he calls the hostility of the Electoral Commission, in addition to other infractions, in addition to President Buhari campaigning on election day. Labour Party also wants to go to court. Dati Ahmed, the running mate to Mr. Peter Obi, already said that much. Now, but the big issue is this. Many Nigerians have no faith in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Very soon there's going to be about 11 vacancies on that bench. And everybody will be looking forward to the next government that comes in to fill those vacancies. Why do you think Nigerians are now all of a sudden so skeptical about an established mechanism for resolving election disputes? Is it that the Supreme Court has, people have lost confidence in the Supreme Court, when it is clear that there's no alternative where there are grievances or non-compliance being alleged by some of the stakeholders?
Let me tell you, sir, personally, as a person, as a lawyer trained in Nigeria, I have confidence in every court in Nigeria. That is a presupposition. But I now tell you what the fact is, and we have been repeating it for too long. The fact, which is a perception that the majority of Nigerians have, is that it should be clear that they don't have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary. But again, as I speak as a defender of the judiciary, I ask a question: what other alternative do you have? What alternative do you have to order? Nigeria will not be the first place where that we experience the politics of the Supreme Court. Let us not beat about the bush. Decisions that emanate from courts at the highest level. You, Dr. Abati, educated Nigerians here on the Arise News channel, that the court is not necessarily a court of law alone, given the provisions of Section 6 of the Constitution, which makes it, in a position that has jurisdiction to even make pronouncement on issues of Chapter 2 that deal with fundamental objective and directive principle of state policy. So it is also a court of policy. You made that very copious, clear, and erudite point right here. But again, in that case, what Nigerians must now appreciate is that such a court will have to consider issues of politics when it is making its decision. Sometimes it even decides to abandon law. It discards law. And like I've argued several times, that has been quite opposed, is that courts make law. Courts make law. And if you remember our elementary law that tells us that the prophecies of what the court will do are in fact pretentiously nothing, are what I mean by law, quoting the Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. That is, the men seated there in the Supreme Court reason among themselves and expectedly act in what be in the best interest of justice or in the overall interest of Nigeria. So let us not, play the ostrich and pretend as if we are going to expect a stricto sensu application of the law when issues get to the Supreme Court. No, the men at the Supreme Court will reason. They will be influenced by their sentiments from where they come from. And interestingly, they may even have loyalties. They are basically human beings first before anything else. The challenge is that to what extent will they be able to exalt their practice as judicial officers to represent, the icons that we have had in this country. Before mentioning the likes of Lord Denning, who would do everything possible to promote justice. So Nigerians, as a matter of fact, do not have confidence in the court system at the moment. But nevertheless, it is better to take the matters to the court. Let them be ventilated there. Why would you now give the alternative of saying, oh, we don't have confidence in the court, so let's die here, in quote? No, no. You know what? You know where we stand. We stand. We at all times there must be order.
Okay, Mr. Franklin, at all times there must be order. But is that not why the politicians are saying we win with violence at the election polls, then we go to court because we know we can get it in our favor? Because dial back to 2007 case that was decided 4-3, the Hèàvy case. If you remember, this is exactly what you're saying. It's the same temperature the likes of the Nikki Tobis of this world, the Ricky Taffas, enunciated when that case went. And it was really close. They called that election the worst election in history. And it went 4-3 because of all of these factors. So Is it not just opening that room for violence at the polls? That's number one. Number two, let's quickly look at the things that will even be the agenda for the new president-elect. He's got an economy that is in doldrums. He's got a nation that is fractured. Sanitary environmental indices at an all-time low. He's got a broken nation. What will he do to fix the pieces of this broken nation as we speak?
I said it before. President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu should tomorrow start visiting the people he needs to visit the way he did when he won the primaries of the All Progressive Congress against the will of the powers that be in that party. He should do that. Reconciliation. Immediately after the Civil War, you remember the 3 R's that General Yakubu Gowon promoted. Reconciliation was principal in addition to reconstruction and rehabilitation. Reconciliation at this time, Nigerians are not happy. He needs, and at this time, many Nigerians, unfortunately and painfully, young Nigerians do not see him as a true reflection of the will of the people. Personally, I mean, I had made up my mind whoever was elected president would have my support. But the process of being elected, it now has become so questionable. And again, remember, as you have also said, Rufai, because I've having followed you keenly, when former President Umaru Yar'Adua was elected, under the supervision of the incubential powers of the highly respected former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who actually was said to be the godfather, the one who spoon-fed Yar'Adua, who actually handpicked him and used the incubation powers to make him president. The man was sincere enough. And again, because I would answer your question in one word, sincerity. The man was sincere enough to say, look, well, I'm president today, but I know that the process that made me president was so faulty. I was reading with a lot of malpractices and corrupt practices and widespread violation.
Do you think Bola Tinubu will say that?
Yar'Adua as president. And that is what we are calling him to do. That is what we are asking him to say. Look, you talked about the perception right now of the Supreme Court, which is low. The perception is so bad that I am not permitted by broadcasting standards to mention the words that Nigerians bandy in social media with regards to describing the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court needs to do to redeem its image is to act sincerely, is to look at facts and call white, white, black, black. And that is what is expected. You are asking about the president-elect. What is expected of the president-elect is to be sincere enough to say, look, things are not supposed to be, things are not okay. Nigerians are not happy with the outcome of this election. He will have to take the course of the former president, of blessed memory, that, look, there has to be reforms, widespread reforms on the Electoral Act. And then he has to make a commitment to submitting to the fact that the judiciary, the decisions of the judiciary should not in any way appear to be influenced, but that they reflect true justice. In the ultimate, we need to have an enduring country. Part of the reason is this, why I root for old people who become president, is that, look, they've done everything they're supposed to do. Go to Lagos State and you'll be proud of Bola Ahmed Tinubu when you look at a number of the things that he has done. And then it's an old man, and it's not the oldest president, but when you see such persons who are now saddled with responsibility of leadership, they are more concerned with the fact that of legacy, of the good things they want to leave behind. And so we have the privilege of having a very senior citizen at this time that will become president. If he eventually becomes president, he should be fixated. He should be dominated with the thoughts of what can I leave behind that will make this country better. Those are the issues.
Thank you very much for your passionate submission this morning on Nigeria.